Hello, hello, hello. It is me, Alec Carr, sitting next to Dustin. I'm sorry if I'm a little tired and exhausted. I'm coming off of COVID, so everyone, please bear with me. You're not going to see the same energetic, crazy, maniacal Alec that you normally do every week. That being said, quick plugs. You guys can follow me at Alec Carr MMA on Twitter. You can follow Dustin at No Censor Sports. You can also follow us at Fights on Rap, which is up in the corner that way. And then make sure you guys are following Unwrap Sports Network and subscribe and hit the little bell for reminders on the YouTube channel so that you can check out all of our network shows. Going into our headlines, not our headlines, I'm sorry. Into our sponsors. Guys, please check out rxhemp.com. If you are old and you still want to act like you're 21 like I do in the gym, you're probably going to need this stuff. rxhemp.com. It helps with soreness, muscle fatigue, all kinds of stuff. rxhemp-usa gets 10% off your entire order. And I'm breezing through these because we got headlines. We got another killer fight night card. And then visit mybookie.ag today and bet on this card this weekend. There's also, I guess it's a little too late, but people do bet on the NBA draft, which is happening, in an hour, Dustin, or something? Happening soon. I can't wait to see how the Sixers fuck it up again, but that's for a different podcast. And little exciting announcement about that is we might be doing Unwrap Sports Network might be doing some kind of cool reaction show. So make sure you're tuning in, but visit mybookie.ag today and use promo code USN 100 for 100% sign up bonus. All right, guys. We're gonna jump right into our headlines here. We're gonna start with a fight announcement. Cerrone stepped up as he normally does and is fighting July 2nd against Jim Miller. It's Bobby Green. Yeah, Bobby Green was initially supposed to be in this fight, backed out because of an injury. So now we get to see maybe, probably, and hopefully Donald Cerrone's retirement fight finally happen. We're not going to talk about this because I feel like we've talked about his retirement fight 3 times. You want to know why, Dustin? Because we've talked about his retirement fight 3 times now in 1 year. So I hope this is it. I hope this is the last one. And as I've said many times, I hope he goes out on top, takes off his gloves, leaves them in the octagon off of an impressive victory. Dustin, you got anything to say about this?
No, to be honest, Cerrone. The fact that he took this fight is just telling me how he survived the UFC so long, even on this downfall. Dana likes this shit. Of course, man. I just hope that he stops and just figures out another way to be a part of the MMA community. And that's all I got to say on it.
Yeah, I definitely see him jumping into some coaching afterwards. I don't really think the broadcast booth or analyst is his thing.
No.
He's not a big talker, but sometimes those guys who aren't big talkers are the best analysts. Look at Paul Felder. Paul Felder is probably the best analyst on ESPN right now. That being said, I do want to throw this out there. We both love. I'll talk for you, Dustin. We both love Donald Cerrone and what he's done for the sport. He's been very impactful. He's done a bunch of different things, and he's a guy that's been contending for the past, God, it feels like 50 years. He's just been in constant contention, but his career is definitely coming to an end. So we'll see what happens. Again, guys, it's July 2nd. Hopefully we see Donald Cerrone win and retire. If not win, at least retire. All right, we're going to jump into a little bit of a more fun one. We got Nate Diaz versus Dana White, believe it or not. Can you believe it, Dustin? These two are going at it again.
Again.
Oh my God, it's getting annoying. Nate Diaz is on a downturn. He is not the same Nate that we all know and love. He is not the badass. He is not the Stockton slap guy. He is a shell of himself. This guy's been hit in the head way too many times, because he likes getting hit in the head way too many times. This is just Dana. I think Dana's doing the right move here. I think he absolutely is. Dana said it sounds like you should just go fight Jake Paul then, because Diaz is saying he wants more money, he wants more money, he wants more money, or else he's not going to fight. And Dana White's like, I'm not going to give you more money, dude. You're not the guy anymore. You're not that guy. An interesting side bit is Kevin Holland has thrown in his name against Nate Diaz, which is a fight I would like to see. But I can't believe I'm saying this, Dustin. I agree with Dana White. Nate Diaz, if you want more money, go fight Jake Paul. Go take a fall and fight Jake Paul and earn the most amount of money you've ever earned in your entire life. What do you think about what's going on between these two?
Dude, I've just learned. First of all, when you say Nate Diaz is that guy, he's never been that guy. So we're just gonna. I think I need to scrape that.
He's the fun guy. Let me rephrase it real quick. What I mean by that, he's the fun, entertaining guy. He's not a contender. He's not for really being in contention.
The signature of his career was beating Conor, which, well, I give him all his flowers. Absolutely, because he was Conor McGregor's kryptonite. It was just the kryptonite. The way he fought, the way he did it, he's just his kryptonite. And that happens to fighters. But what I'll say about Diaz is I still think he's the rough, tough Diaz. I still think he can take shots. I still think he can stay in there for 5 rounds with good fighters. Here's the problem. He doesn't give a fuck about winning. And Dana White doesn't like that. And no promoter does. No promoter likes to put somebody in the ring, octagon, mat. I don't give a fuck what scenario we can bring up. No promoter would like to put someone on the mat who does not care about winning the fight. When he rocked Leon Edwards is about to fight for a title, and Nate Diaz had him rocked, and all he did was point at him and make fun of him. He could have took out a top contender, and he's just pointing at him, laughing, like he did something when he got beat up for 4 rounds. It's not funny anymore. It's not funny anymore. If you wanted that money, you should have beat Leon Edwards. If you would have beat Leon Edwards, dude, nobody could say shit to you.
You'd be fighting Newsman right now.
You would be there. You would be there at the top. And I agree with Dana. And actually, I think Dana and Nate have like an agreement. Nate Diaz wants fucking money, and he wants to go do his thing. And I learned, as long as I've watched the fight business, I'm talking since I was an early teenager. So, I mean, goddamn, we're talking 15, 16 years. There's 2 sides of fighting. There's championship, top-notch fighting, and then there's entertainment. It is what it is. It is what it is. And there's nothing wrong with both of them. And both of them can honestly almost coexist and almost come together, because I've seen it. Because Conor made that happen. But guys like Nate Diaz, man, Conor gave a shit about winning. Nate Diaz don't give a shit about winning. They just don't. So therefore, honestly, I do think his career in the UFC is done. He's not going to make any type of title run. He's not making him any more money. I think the fight over with Kevin Holland would be great. If they schedule that for his last contract fight ever, awesome. Because Holland's not going to take you down. It's gonna be a straight boxing war. That's exactly what it's going to be. And I think that'd be great. Good time for Holland, too. Nate Diaz is still tough. Don't get me wrong. That dude's still tough. He can still fight. It's just the fact that he doesn't give a fuck about it getting a dub. And that's a problem. Yeah. So I agree with Dana here.
And if Holland wins that fight, it's a huge victory for him still. Like, beating Nate Diaz is no joke. You're beating Nate Diaz. He's a tough fuck.
He's still tough.
Especially if he tapped him out or something. That would be crazy. How about his submission? That was nuts. Anyway, that's a different topic for a different day. We got to move on. We're moving on to a really fun one, a really, really stupid headline. Jorge Masvidal has continued to call out Conor McGregor. Again, Jorge going for the money. He especially needs it now with his court case that Colby Covington's bringing against him. He definitely needs that money because Colby Covington's about to take him to the cleaners. He calls out Conor, and which is fine. You know, I would actually love this fight because the pregame would be so much fun. The pre-fight stuff, the interview, the trash talk, it would be a total show. Jorge Masvidal had this in his mind that he thinks he's just as big as Conor, and that he says, obviously before this guy overdoses on cocaine and then the fight never happens, if I don't get to make all that easy money, I just want to break Conor's face. Jorge, you don't want this fight, man. this is not a fight you want. You don't. Jorge's Masvidal's kryptonite in the UFC has been guys who can take him down and counterpunchers like Conor McGregor. He does not do well against guys who will sit back and let him swing and then land a left straight to his jaw. This is a bad fight for Jorge Masvidal, other than the money, which he's flat out saying over and over again, I need the money, I need the money. Conor's not that good. I'm bigger than Conor. You're not bigger than Conor, Jorge. You never have been. You never will be. The knee gave you a little burst in popularity, but Conor McGregor, and I put this in the chat, and I hope you saw it. Conor McGregor used to sell out stadiums for weigh-ins. For weigh-ins. That doesn't even happen in boxing. That didn't happen with Muhammad Ali. That didn't happen with Floyd. Conor sold out stadiums for weigh-ins. Like this, I need Conor to come back and whoop somebody's ass because people need to respect this man and what he's done for the sport. You don't need to respect him outside of the octagon. I don't expect you to. But what this guy has done for the sport is absolutely ridiculous. It wouldn't be emerging as one of the top sports in the world. MMA wouldn't be emerging as one of the top sports in the world if it weren't for Conor McGregor. And that's just a fact. This is just utterly ridiculous by Jorge Masvidal. Conor McGregor is going to probably fight at 170, but I would like to see this fight just because it would be entertaining. But at the end of the day, this is not the good fight to make. Jorge Masvidal is just grinding my gears, Dustin. I don't know how else to put it. He's just grinding my gears. He's frustrating. He's annoying. He thinks he's so good, and he's never been that good. He's just never been that good, ever. He's all right. He's all right. He's all right. That's about it.
I'm going to just be real about Masvidal. He's desperate. Completely desperate. The way he's calling out McGregor, like accusing Conor of doing cocaine, which, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that Conor's never done coke. Like, I mean, shit, dude, he's rich. I mean, it could have happened. Like, let's just be real. Like, guys with that much money, bro, they don't live by the same rules as the rest of everybody. So let's be real. That could have happened. Maybe he does. Do I think that he does it so bad that, before he gets strung out on coke? Shut the fuck up. He's like 195 pounds right now, and he's buff as shit, okay? He's buff as shit. That's not a guy sitting over here snorting shit up his nose every 5 seconds. That's not a guy who's snorting. He's over here. He's fit all the time. If you ever really follow Conor's Instagram or follow social media, Conor's always fit. I've never seen Conor out of shape. Never. I've never seen him fat. I've never seen him look bad. Never seen him look like a druggie. It's never fucking happened. Never fucking happened. But when he cut to 145, it's the closest you could say that he looked like he looked like he was on some shit because he was so skinny. But that's because he cut down. He lost all that water weight, and fat just goes with it. And that's just how it is. But when it comes to his totality of physical appearance, Conor has never looked out of shape. It's never happened. I've never seen it. I've been watching the dude for damn near a decade. He's never been out of shape. Another thing that he keeps, he's like easy money. That is the talks of a guy who's ready to lose. If anybody thinks Conor McGregor is easy money, you are lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. Khabib even came out after that Conor fight, even as much as hostility they had towards each other. Khabib even came out after that fight and said Conor was one of the toughest dudes I've ever fought. He even said it. He said that. That came out of his fucking mouth. I'm not lying. He was like, Conor was a tough SOB. Like, literally. Like, he's probably the toughest dude I fought. This is coming from Khabib. So this is a dude that was, like, obsessed with MMA. And he said Conor was tough as shit. And he wasn't even easy money for a guy like Khabib or a guy like Nate Diaz. He was not easy money for not one MMA fighter on this fucking world. He wasn't even easy money for Floyd. He still hit the shit out of Floyd.
He rocked Floyd. He rocked him.
And literally, and even Floyd to this day is over here being like, I take my hat off to McGregor. That dude is a tough motherfucker. Literally. He was like, that dude is tough as shit. And it's for Masvidal to sit here and be like, well, it's easy money. Dude, Conor's going to beat the living dog shit out of you. And it's not like one of these fighters you can bully in the street either. You're going to try to get in his face on the street, and Conor's going to fuck you up there too.
Yeah, this is the thing. I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is the thing about Jorge Masvidal thinking he's hard from Dade County, like the hard guy from Miami within the street fights. People don't understand what it's like to be like ghetto Irish. Like there's still car bombs going off over there. Like ghetto Irish is like it's the third world country in certain parts of like Belfast and Cork and certain parts of those cities.
Dublin's rough.
Yeah, Dublin, like that. Those places are crazy. They're crazy, and that's how Conor grew up, and he hasn't forgotten who he is. I still am convinced that Conor McGregor's involved with the mafia, the Irish mob, because of that, the car bomb that went off outside of his bar, the fire that his bar got caught on, like mob shit's happening over there in Ireland with Conor.
To be honest, when it comes to Masvidal, I think that first of all, you're barking up the wrong tree. That's just my number one point. Second of all, you're desperate and you're trying to bait Conor into fighting you. You're trying to bait him. You're trying to get him mad. You're not going to make Conor mad, dude. You're not going to make Conor mad. He is like, dude, he literally said, well, I'll put back $2 million. You put back $2 million. Dude, Conor, you don't have Conor money, dude. You couldn't bet any type of money with Conor. Conor is a wealthy human being, not a rich human being, a wealthy one.
Yeah,
you
Conor
win that.
Frame of reference: Conor McGregor is still the 10th highest paid athlete in the world,
and he hasn't even fought in like forever. He's crazy.
He fought one round.
He's like, let's bet $2 million, Conor. Dude, Conor McGregor wipes his ass with $2 million in his Lamborghini fucking yacht. Okay,
his third Lamborghini yacht. I
don't know what he's chasing, but I'm telling you right now that Conor McGregor, if they step in the octagon, I will watch. But if they do, Conor is going to beat.
Let's also not forget that Conor McGregor is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, I know he uses it for takedown defense mostly, but if need be, he will tap Jorge Masvidal out because he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Like, I don't know what Masvidal wants from Conor. He wants a big payday, but I was like, and he's like, oh well, easy money, and I was like, it's easy for money. It's easy money for me to go and fight Mike Tyson. You know why? Because Mike Tyson's going to knock my ass out, and I'm gonna collect that money, and I'm gonna go home. So talking like that, if you're talking like that, that means you know that when you step into the octagon across from that fucking man, you're gonna get your block knocked off, and you're okay with it.
Yep.
That's all I hear. So you're just desperate. You're Nate Diaz, but worse. At least Nate Diaz isn't a clown like that. He's not over chasing money. He's like, I just want to fight. Who the fuck wants to fight? No, Masvidal is chasing a whole different fucking subject, and he's got to get what he's asking for, maybe by someone else. I don't think it's gonna be Conor, because I think Conor's above him. Conor doesn't need to fight him. They're fucking talking about him fighting for the fucking 170 title. And you're over here talking about want to fight Masvidal,
which would be dumb for Conor, but that's a whole nother story we can get into next time because we gotta move on. We do have lots of headlines, and this card is crazy, people. So we gotta talk about it. Next, coming up, Greg Hardy. Not really rumored to return to the UFC. The rumored is probably the wrong word, but Greg Hardy wants to return to the UFC. He said after he learns how to wrestle in the Bare Knuckle Fighting Confederation, which I don't know if somebody didn't tell him there's no wrestling in bare knuckle fighting. So I don't know how he's going to learn that there, but he says after he learns some wrestling, he wants to come back to the UFC and make a title run at heavyweight. I don't care about this. For me, it's more of a non-story. Greg Hardy's not coming back. Dana White brought him in as a publicity stunt to begin with. He knew people would watch him lose. And he's lost too often, and he's broken the rules too often, too. Let's not forget about all the times he was disqualified, one because of an inhaler and one because of blatantly obvious illegal knee to a down opponent. Even more obvious than the Petr Yan one. This one was brutal, and I thought he killed the guy with the knee, to be honest. Greg Hardy is never coming back to the UFC. And to be honest, I think he's going to get his ass whooped in bare knuckle fighting. I don't think he stands a chance. He has no idea the kind of psychos he's going to have in front of him. And that, I mean, you look at a guy like Paulie. What's his name? Paulie. The guy, I can't remember his last name. Former boxing champion. Just lost against Adrian Lobov because Lobov's been bare knuckle fighting since that promotion started. And it's just a different thing. Greg Hardy doesn't stand a chance in it. And I can't wait. I might tune in to watch him get his ass whooped in that, too. I don't know about you, Dustin.
Here's my thing about Greg Hardy. So I'm putting myself as an MMA coach. I'm envisioning a personal view of being an MMA coach. If I saw someone with the raw athletic freak ability of Greg Hardy, I would think he'd have a lot of potential in a sport like MMA because he really does have raw, athletic, kind of freak ability. He has a lot of power in his hands. He can put people to sleep. Here's my thing about Greg Hardy. In order for him to succeed in MMA, what he's going to have to do is move to Vegas, move to Florida, move to Colorado, move somewhere where MMA gyms are top profile you're going to be sparring and training with the best. You're going to be against the best every day at the gym. And if you want to wrestle, dude, there's plenty of guys who can teach you how to wrestle. Plenty of them.
Those guys won't take them, though.
But here's the problem. If you want to succeed, and I'm talking to anybody with a freak athletic base like Greg Hardy, because I still think Greg Hardy should have been better. I watched him fight. He had it, dude. He had it, but he just, for some reason, he's not technical. He likes to get in brawls, and with these bigger guys in the heavyweight division, especially now, they're going to knock you the fuck out. And you got to learn how to defend. You got to learn to slip, move. You got to learn how to do that. And if you don't go to a gym or a coach that is reputable, you're not going to learn how to do that shit. I don't know where he's training right now, but if he wants to be serious about a career in MMA, he needs to go somewhere where somebody is going to teach him the right way. And in my opinion, if he doesn't do that, he keeps bullshit with bare knuckle fighting, keeps doing all that, dude, you're never going to win. You're never going to win the UFC. And fuck it, dude. You're not even going to make it to the PFL. You're not going to make it to any major promotion because fighters are better than you. They're better than you. PFL, UFC, doesn't matter. You're never going to make it to these big guys. And it's just, you have to actually learn how to fight in the sport. I don't think that dedication has really been put in. Now, I did hear Dana was actually in those conversations with Greg Hardy coming back. So if Dana was in it, I'd kind of believe it. But at the same time, it's just, if he doesn't get disciplined in the sport, he doesn't go somewhere to a real gym, I don't think he has.
So he's training at American Top Team right now. Which is, a really good gym. The issue is that a guy like Greg Hardy, because of, I was going to use the term character issues. I'm just going to say, the thing is, a guy like Greg Hardy being the domestic abuser that he is, in a sport like MMA, he's got a target on his back. These are guys that don't stand for that, and these are guys that, they learn and see this as they're being taught a discipline. It's a discipline. Fight styles are a discipline. And having that target in your back in the best of the best promotion is not a good thing. I mean, you saw Tai Tuivasa knock him the fuck out. You saw Marcin Tyburo knock him out. The only fights he has are against a guy named Jorgen De Castro and Maurice Green, who Maurice Green's never been anything special. So I don't know, man. I get that the raw talent is there. The thing is, fight IQ is different than football IQ, is different than basketball IQ, is different than baseball IQ. And what I can say from watching Greg Hardy is, one, he's a scumbag and he doesn't deserve to be in the UFC and make that much money. He should be in jail. And two is that he doesn't have fight IQ. He just doesn't have it. He doesn't know where to be in the octagon. He's constantly in the wrong place. And a guy like Tai Tuivasa put him away because of it. If you are in that, this is what people need to understand. And it happened with Greg Hardy, and it happened with that WWE guy that came in. I can't remember his name either right now.
CM Punk.
CM Punk. They just don't understand where to go. Like, it didn't happen with Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar was a freak of nature, college top-level wrestler. So he knew he had that fight IQ.
Brock Lesnar is a freak. He's a freak.
CM Punk and Greg Hardy just don't have it. And I'll even say this about Brock Lesnar. He wouldn't stand a chance against these heavyweights. These heavyweights right now, no, he'd be done. He'd be done. So it's just different, and people need to understand that. And Greg Hardy, I hope you never ever come back. Go fuck yourself, and I hope you somehow end up in prison where you belong. All right, we're moving on. We got a little bit of a fun one. Cyril Gane recently, just in an interview, said that he thinks after he beats Tai Tuivasa in France, that the winner, or not that he beats, but the winner of that fight will fight for the interim belt against the John Jones Stipe winner, which that fight has yet to be officially announced, but is probably more than likely happening. So that's big news because, one, it means the talks with Francis Ngannou and Dana White are not going well because Francis Ngannou will not fire his management team for some reason. He just continues to listen to idiots and who tell him he deserves more money for doing nothing. And that Dana is still just not listening to it, saying if you want more money, you have to do something. Like you have to make you give you more money. That's how the world works. That's what's called capitalism. That's how this works. You get paid what your value towards the company. Is he underpaid? Yes. They all are. But that's a different story. Cyril Gane, I think this is super exciting. I'd love to see Cyril Gane versus John Jones, or Cyril Gane versus Stipe. And the reason I say that, we all know how big of a fan of Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa I am. Love him. I'm a fanboy. I love me some Bam Bam. But Bam Bam versus Stipe or Bam Bam versus John Jones is not a good fight. Not a good fight. Not at all. So I'm sorry, it's not. I mean, John Jones stays away and just picks him apart until he gets tired by the third round. And Stipe just uses his top flight striking and against his power. The one thing that Tai would have against a guy like Stipe is that Tai Tuivasa's ground game has massively improved. His wrestling has gotten way better. But Cyril Gane versus Stipe or John Jones would be fucking incredible. Absolutely incredible. That fight, especially against John Jones, that fight, sign me up 4 times, Dustin. I want to see that fight over and over and over again. So I think this is really interesting. I think it's something to pay attention to. What do you think? Do you have any thoughts about this, Dustin?
I disagree with the fact that Francis needs to do more to get paid. I'm going to just be real. Cyril Gane was pitted to be like Dana White set him up to be the next big thing. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's been confirmed that Francis was hurt during that title fight between him and Cyril. And Cyril Gane was healthy, completely healthy when he walked in that octagon. And I'm sorry to break it to everybody, but Ngannou dogged, babied him. I mean, babied him. I'm serious. Like when I watched that fight, Cyril Gane got babied. He got beat, man. Like there was no even like here and being like.
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you real quick. When I say do more, I don't mean this. Francis Ngannou is clearly one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. What I mean is he still didn't even touch $500,000 PPVs. I think like he didn't do 500,000 PPV buys. He's got to be more marketable. He's a champ. If you want to make Izzy numbers, if you want to make those 1.2 million numbers, you gotta get the big PPV buys.
Here's another thing that we might disagree about too. Do I think because of the beef with Ngannou that Dana White has not done his due diligence to promote Ngannou the way he should have? I absolutely will tell you that I don't think he promoted Ngannou the way he should have.
But that's bullshit.
I think it's a personal beef.
That's bullshit, though, because Cyril Gane hasn't done anything for himself either. Dana, I guarantee you the initial the initial beef started before. If we go back in time, like we play the tape back, right? We go all the way back in time to when this beef first started. Francis Ngannou was trying to negotiate more money, a new contract while still under contract, which Dana White doesn't play that game. You're still under contract. You finish your contract. Doesn't matter who you are. You could be Conor McGregor. You could be Izzy. You could be Sugarshot OMalley. You do not renegotiate until you commit and finish your fights. Then the renegotiation starts. That's how it's always worked.
That's where he's wrong.
And then Francis Ngannou's management team does not go after PPV points. They don't go after PPV points. It wasn't offered and it wasn't asked for. He has never asked for them. Like he is surrounded by bad management and he doesn't see it. And Dana White even told him privately and to the national media on ESPN, I think the guy needs new management. He needs new management to give him good advice because he's getting bad advice.
Here's my thing about Dana White with fucking management. First of all, I'm gonna be honest with you. Dana White claims that everybody except him in the fight game is a fucking slime ball. And I have seen him do it a million times. Everybody except him. Everybody. It doesn't matter who the fuck it is.
Yeah, but look what Conor's doing. Look what Ali's been doing. Like,
he can't do shit. He can't
get your fighters paid.
But Conor, he can't do shit to Conor. Conor can get whatever the fuck he wants in the UFC.
No, I mean his management group.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter, though. He can get whatever he wants.
If you're Francis Ngannou, why aren't you on the phone with Conor McGregor saying, hey, man, I want to sign with Paradigm?
I get it, but I also think this is a Francis Ngannou beef. I don't even think it's with management. I sincerely think that he does not like Dana White. I think it literally is like from the very beginning of this started with Dana White coming out saying that Francis Ngannou needs new management. He needs somebody new in the room telling him what he's doing or what the other advice he's being given is wrong. And it clearly has been. I mean, over and over and over again. They're telling him a fight with Tyson Fury would make him over $100 million. And that's just not true. It's not fucking true. It wouldn't pay him $100 million. Fury even said that he wouldn't get $100 million for it, but he'd love to do the fight because it would still be a huge payday. But like here's the thing. Well, we're talking about boxing here. We're talking about his future endeavors. I think what I'm pointing to, his boxing and his manager's opinion about his boxing career is their opinion. I don't give a fuck. what I kind of go towards is the UFC in general. Dana doesn't do renegotiations. That's why guys like Sugar Sean have been delayed from fighting bigger competition. That's why Paddy Pimblett won't fight anybody that's big. Dana White needs to redo the way he does fucking business. I don't care. He needs to redo it. If this fighter's a fucking star, you need to go ahead and renegotiate a contract.
But that's the thing. That's the thing, though, Dustin. Here's my point, and I'm interrupting you here on purpose. He's a star in the fight community. Francis Ngannou's a star in the fight community, which is, as you know and I know, really, really small. It's a tight niche community. Francis Ngannou is a superstar in the fight community. In the general public, no one knows who he is because he doesn't market himself. He has no social media presence whatsoever. He has no social media manager. Clearly, he doesn't. He has no other outside endeavors. The guy loves wearing $10,000 suits. In the meantime, like, if you want to do this, if you want to make more money, this is an individualistic sport. Yes, you have a whole team behind you. I understand that. But you have to market yourself. It's been like that since the fight game first started, going back to boxing, going back to fucking, if we go all the way back to ancient Roman times, it goes back to marketing. It all goes back to marketing. And he refuses and continues to refuse to market himself and then demands to be the highest paid fighter on the promotion. He wanted $15 million to fight John Jones. 15 million. 15 million. Wait. You and I both know that top flight fighters in the UFC deserve $15 million.
Okay, hold on. Just a PB. Ngannou versus Jones. How many PB buys you think that's getting?
I understand that. I totally understand that. And it's just 15 million would be close, if not an all-time high for a UFC payout.
For him against John
Jones, Francis Ngannou, the boring Francis Ngannou, outside the octagon, one of the most boring fighters, one of the most boring champs of all time, because all he does is not talk. He doesn't say anything. He's not the nice guy. He's not the mean guy. He's just a guy with a belt. Like, you look at Izzy. Izzy's the crazy, say whatever the fuck he wants to say guy. That's who he is. He has that. That's who he is to his core, and he developed it into a marketing thing. Francis Ngannou's got no emotion. He's got no appeal. People don't give a shit. If you're going to pay out somebody $15 million, he needs to be a household name. And right now, Francis Ngannou is not that. He's not. He is the fight community. He is not a household name.
Let me put up a scenario to you real quick. I'm just like that. What I've been saying earlier. Just like, I'm not exactly even arguing what you're saying, because I actually think what you're saying is correct, and I know it's correct because me and you have talked about it. You obviously know I'm on the same page with the PBB, personality, social media. Me and you are on the same thing. When it comes to that, we're on the same page. Don't disagree at all. What I'm saying is, where Francis Ngannou would be right if he took the octagon with John Jones, and they promoted it, they made it a huge fucking thing. I'm telling you right now, if him and John Jones fought probably 6 months from now, that would be a PPV buy through the fucking roof. No one would have to talk shit.
It'd be top 10 of all time.
Literally be top 10. And if you don't think that these guys Dana should be dishing out almost 30 to 40% of the purse between that main event, 30-40% of the whole fucking card to that main event, someone's drunk. There's no way that you wouldn't pay these guys millions to step in there. There's no way.
Let me just put it this way. Conor McGregor has the highest PPV buys of all time in UFC history. It probably won't ever be touched against Khabib. At least not for a long, long time. It won't be touched. He made $6.6 million. one of the largest. I think it's the largest payout in UFC history.
Do you think that was right, though? Do you think it was right? Do you think it was proportional? Do you think that's what he should have got?
No, of course, and I've always been on that boat. It should have been a $50 million payout because that's how much. And I get it, but my point is, even if fighters were paid what they should be, right? Let's just go into a hypothetical world, and then we'll move on to the fight card because it is really important. Let's go to
DC against Sean O'Malley. I don't think we're going against that.
No, yeah, we got to talk about that too. So let's just go into the hypothetical world real quick, all right, Dustin? And just say that UFC fighters are getting paid their worth, their actual value, right? I know they're not, but let's just say they are. Francis Ngannou is not one of the top valued fighters no matter what, so he's still not breaking banks. He's still not making more than Conor McGregor would make. So for him to assume – no, wait. For him to assume that he deserves that now is utterly fucking ridiculous.
No, but that's John Jones would be.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. Let's just say Conor McGregor made $50 million for that Khabib fight. Like we all think he probably should have, right? Let's just say he did. John Jones versus Francis Ngannou doesn't touch that one. It doesn't. I don't even think that breaks the top 5. To be honest, I think it's like 8, 7, maybe 6 of all time in the UFC. You still don't get paid.
John Jones heavyweight debut. John Jones heavyweight title fight debut. You don't think that tops? You don't think it's somewhere in their conversation?
If it was against Stipe, the greatest heavyweight of all time, I think it does. But Francis Ngannou stomped a 38-year-old Stipe. Come on. Come on, bro. Come on.
Bro, Francis
anyway, that's a different it's a different argument for a different day. My point nonetheless is that even if fighters were paid their worth, Francis Ngannou, and I'm just gonna be really blunt because I don't want to fucking run around the bush anymore around this. Francis Ngannou is one of the biggest nobodies to ever hold the UFC belt of all time. People don't know who he is. Go outside right now and ask people who kind of watch the UFC when it's a big card if they know who Francis Ngannou is. And then ask them what weight class he's in. If they might know, oh yeah, I've heard of that guy. I guarantee you they won't know what weight class he's in. They won't know he's champ. They won't know anything about the dude. Then you ask them about Conor. Then you ask them about Izzy. Then you ask them about Jorge Masvidal. Dude, these are all names they've heard before. Francis Ngannou's not one of them. He doesn't deserve to be one of the highest paid fighters. And frankly, it's embarrassing that he thinks it. And if he wants to get paid more, he needs to do more. Point blank. It doesn't matter. And if he doesn't want to, go to Bellator for the chance to make $1 million a year. You're making $700,000 every time you step in the octagon right now. $700,000. You fight twice, it's $1.4 million. You want to go to Bellator, Francis Ngannou, for a chance at $1 million every year? Go right ahead. Go right ahead. You're screwing yourself.
PFL's the million, to be honest, with the champ. The champ wins $1 million at the end of the season.
Right. So PFL and Bellator are the same thing. Once a year, Bellator holds a weight class tournament where the grand prize is $1 million, and once a year, PFL holds the championship fights, which is $1 million. So you get a chance at $1 million. If he wants to screw his career and go to one of those and just not have to do anything, go right ahead. Go right ahead, man. You're not needed in this division anymore.
I will say on my live stream, on our show, and our live stream, is that if you want to watch MMA, quality MMA, that is not the UFC, don't fucking watch Bellator. You need to go tune in on ESPN Plus, take that ass to PFL. PFL's got some real motherfuckers, and I'm telling you, that's a good fucking fight to watch.
Or one championship.
Or one championship has some good fights. But I will say PFL, they got talent up and down, and it's a really, really entertaining fucking fight card. If you want to dabble outside the UFC, I'd highly recommend PFL. And I've been watching it for a long fucking time. And I'm telling you, PFL impresses me sometimes. So therefore, Go watch it.
It is really cool because you get to watch the future UFC fighters. Anyway, we're moving on.
Shut up. Damn UFC fighters. Yeah.
We're moving on. Or former UFC fighters. We're moving on.
By the way, they get beat up. They get beat up, by the way.
They do get beat up. We're moving on. DC, Sugarshot OMalley have beef. And boy, is it fun for me because every time I have to listen to DC talk or commentate or listen to even snippets of his podcast, I just get so angry at him. He's just so annoying and so one-sided and so like biased. And then when people try to hold him accountable, like the John Madden of MMA, Joe Rogan held him accountable on air, saying you can't be this biased, man. He was like, that's just not appropriate. You don't say those kinds of things on air. Well, stop being biased. Stop rooting for guys in your gym and only guys in your gym or guys that you have trained before. We all see it. We all recognize it. And we got another guy calling him out in Sugarshot OMalley. Basically, how this started was DC made some comments saying, I don't think Sugarshot OMalley has the talent to compete at a top level or something like that. And Sugarshot OMalley said something after that was like, you should just go listen to what he said during my last fights, and you can clearly see that he doesn't want me to win. He just doesn't care. He doesn't root for me. And Sugarshot OMalley frankly said, and I don't care about it. People are entitled to their own opinions, and that's his. But I'm just going to do me, and I'm going to compete for a championship. And DC freaked out. He freaked out, stating that he doesn't think about Sugarshot OMalley, that Sugarshot OMalley's not even on his radar, that he doesn't even know who he is. How dare he talk to DC like that? Don't you know I'm one of the greats? I've held 2 division belts before. I've held 10 different championships in my career. I don't know who Sugarshot OMalley is. This happens all the time, Dustin. DC gets called out on something he said or did, and he freaked out. He freaked out because he can't be held accountable for anything. And I am sick and tired of. I mute him sometimes. I'll watch the fights on mute. I swear to God I will. If he pisses me off, I've gotten to the point where I mute him. I will not listen to that man talk. And if you go back and watch the previous Sugarshot OMalley fights that he's been in the booth for, it is immensely one-sided. Immensely one-sided. This guy clearly doesn't like Sugarshot OMalley, which is fine. Like Sugarshot OMalley said, you can have your own opinions, man. That's good. I'm going to compete for a belt no matter what, but you can think whatever you want to think. And I got news for DC, and I'll let you talk after this. No one gives a shit about your 2 other belts other than the UFC. No one. No one cares. No one gives a shit. Not even fight fans care, man. No one cares.
I don't.
Stop.
I don't.
Stop throwing that card in there. No one cares. No one cares. Not even a little bit. And you know what? You were light heavyweight champion because John Jones couldn't stay clean. The only reason you had that belt was because John Jones couldn't lay off the coke. That was it. That was the only reason you had the belt. And people who call him the greatest heavyweight of all time drive me fucking nuts. He's not even close. Not even close. He's not. I understand he held a heavyweight belt for a long time in other fight promotions, but you're not. You're just not. There's Fedor. There's Junior Dos Santos. There's Stipe. There's so many people ahead of you.
Randy Couture.
What?
Randy Couture.
I would even say Francis Ngannou at this point is better than DC. As a heavyweight, is more proven as a heavyweight than him. I'm just sick and tired of this man. That's all I got. What do you think, Dustin?
DC is Colby Covington. If DC is Colby Covington, if Usman snorted shit up his nose. Put me on national television. I'd say it to him. You're Colby Covington if Usman snorted shit up his nose. That's it. John Jones would have whooped your ass 5 times out of 5, and you would have been fighting the number 2 contender, number 5 contender, number 6 contender for the rest of your fucking career. If John Jones would have just stayed clean. I'm telling you, you are Colby Covington if Usman decided to start snorting shit. That's it. That's it. And he goes to the heavyweight belt. Okay, man. You fought Stipe and you got him. You got him that first time. Cool. Then you got beat the second time. Then you got beat the third time. Look, brother, I'm just be real with you. You're not in the conversation for one of the greatest of all time. You're not.
Remember when he tried to blame the eye poke for his loss?
That eye poke was really bad, though.
It was really bad, but you don't come out of a championship fight saying eye poke, especially one where you can turn back the tape and watch an eye poke back. Like, he did it back to him. Like,
I'm going to tell you right now about DC with O'Malley. He says he don't know who. He really doesn't even care about O'Malley. Dude, you know exactly who the fuck Sean O'Malley is. Matter of fact, everybody knows who Sean O'Malley is. Everybody. Even guys who don't watch UFC like that. Then you know the real beef came? Because DC kept being petty as fuck in every Sean O'Malley fight. He was like, he's watching the clock. Who the fuck cares if he's watching the clock? Who the fuck cares? It doesn't even make sense. Who cares?
It's actually...
Sean O'Malley...
I'm going to say this. It's actually really smart to watch the clock. And if you watch young fighters, most of them are doing it now. Because it's good to know how much time is left in a round. That's smart fighting.
First of all, because like O'Malley just called him out for the petty shit he says. He's like, bro, you're getting mad at me when I'm dominating somebody, by the way. He was like, you're getting mad at me for watching the clock. He was like, the reason I'm watching the clock is to decide if I'm going to try to knock this motherfucker out. Literally. He was like, the only reason I'm watching the clock is to decide if I'm going to straight annihilate this dude. He was like, should I go annihilate him?
We're going to move on. I just want to say this. I wish, again, that somebody like ESPN or the UFC would hire me so that we can have, I can have a face-to-face conversation with DC on national TV and tell him that he's one of the most overrated fighters, most overblown fighters in UFC history, that John Jones came up during the light heavyweight prime, during the number one, it was the number one division, maybe the greatest division ever. And he beat everyone. You know who you beat? An old ass Silva, Alexander Gus. You beat Gus. You beat Anthony Johnson twice. Volkan Ozdemir. Like that's your light heavyweight.
No.
That's it? And you think you're the greatest light heavyweight of all time? Dude, fuck it. Take your 10 belts and go somewhere else with them. I don't want to hear it, man. I would say it to his face. I don't give a shit. Give me an opportunity, please. Give me an opportunity and let me put this guy in his place. Verbally. I don't want to step in a knockdown with him.
Matter of fact, me and Alec need to have a fucking actual show on ESPN. I guarantee it would do more ratings than him talking to fucking Ryan Clark.
Who's not even a UFC guy, and it's...
He has an ex-NFL fucking player on ESPN over there chilling, bro, with Ryan Clark. Me and Alec would do a better fucking job. You are tripping. I can't believe that show is popular. I cannot believe it. I still can't fucking believe it that's popular. I can't believe it.
Dustin, I gotta stop you. We can talk about how annoying DC is forever, and how wrong he is, and how bad of a commentator he is forever. Literally forever. But we gotta move on because we have such another UFC Vegas 57, another entertaining as hell free fight card. Everybody, please tune into this. before we get into it, I'll just do, since Monique's not here and not hosting, I'll just do my make sure you check into these prelim fights. Tafone Chokwe is fighting again. He's in the prelims. Really, really, really good fighter out of Africa. He needs to be paid attention to. I know he lost his last fight in the UFC, but he is a fucking animal. So make sure you guys tune into that. That's headlining the prelim. And that's all I got this time, Dustin, because the card is so good. We start out with Chris Curtis versus Rodolfo Vieira. Chris Curtis is coming off a victory against Phil Hawes and Brandon Allen, going up against Rodolfo Vieira, who just beat Dustin Stolfus. I'm going Chris Curtis all the way. I'm a believer in Chris Curtis. Can put me in his camp. Put me in his camp. I believe in him. I think he wins this easy. I don't really think it's that difficult for him. I actually think, I'm going to say this, Dustin, this is his easiest UFC fight yet. What do you think? What are your thoughts about this fight?
I'm cheering for Chris Curtis for another reason. And it's crazy because he's such an experienced fighter. He's actually been in the cage a million times. Now, he's one of those fighters that got passed over and got his shot very late. And he is showing that he should have been there a fucking mile ago. Phil Hawes is a physical specimen. Dangerous as shit.
Yeah, we saw last weekend.
And Chris Curtis got his ass out of there. That's crazy. It's crazy. He has a good personality. He's a fun guy. I swear to God, I guarantee if I met him at a store somewhere, that Chris Curtis, I wouldn't even know he's an MMA fighter. I guarantee if you met him, you'd be like, man, that guy's just a good guy. You had no idea that he knocked Hall's the fuck out. You would just have no clue. I love the dude. I love his experience. I think he has a good future. And he's a little bit older, and this is his time.
Yeah,
take advantage of him.
I think he makes a run. I don't know if he's ever going to be champ. I don't know if he has quite that skill level, but he's definitely going to make a run here, and it's going to be fun to watch. All right, we're moving on. Next fight, we have the young eagle. We have Umar Nurmagomedov. I know you can say it much better than I can, Dustin, versus Nate Manning. Do we even really need to go over this one? I know Nate is no joke, and he's coming off of three. He's on a 4-fight win streak. Guy is a really good fighter and can grapple and strike. Umar, the baby eagle, as I like to call him, is just that. He's little Khabib. I mean, his fights are crazy.
What's fucked up is I think this is the exact reason when Khabib's dad died that he retired. Because I think Khabib's camp is about to come to fruition. I'm just being real. Islam, his cousin, I think they're coming. And Khabib sensed it. And he knew what the thing was. He knew he needed to let these guys shine, coach them, and bring them up. This is almost why I almost respect Khabib's retirement, because he almost gave a fuck more about the fighters that were under him and coming up than he almost did himself. So I'm telling you right now, his cousin's coming up. He wins this fight. I'm telling you, Khabib's going to be in his corner. He's winning this fight.
It's just, what round does he get the submission? Is it the first? Is it the second? Is it the third? I think that's really more of what we're talking about here.
Probably second. I'd almost guess probably 3 minutes into the second. He might.
And that being said, it's not, Nate Manning's fault. The guy's a legit fighter. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He's really good, but you're going against the Dagestani prodigy, the guy that, it's not this is the guy you're going to start seeing people go, I don't want to fight him. He's not ready. That's what we're going to start hearing from these contenders. Oh, he's not ready yet. That's just like we did with
Islam.
Yeah, just like Islam, just like all the other guys who are showing up, and then like it. Cosma is another perfect example. Oh, he's not ready. Usman's still saying he's not ready, even though he just beat up his best friend. It's gonna be.
He didn't beat up Burns, bro. Well, we gonna scoot past that. He didn't beat up Burns.
He didn't beat up Burns. But let me rephrase that. They both got beat up.
They both got beat up.
They both got beat up in one of the greatest fights we'll ever see in UFC history. Anyway, we're moving on. So we both got Umar. I think that's pretty obvious. We get to see Thiago Moises come back and fight against Christos Giagas. This is one where I kind of tilt my head and go, why are we doing this? Thiago Moises is coming off against 2 losses. Granted, one is against Islam, but the other one is against Joel Alvarez. And then Christos is never really lived up to his hype. Is that fair to say, Dustin, about Christos? He never really lived up to his hype. This is one of those, like, all right, guys, prove you deserve to be here. Put on a show, and you guys both stay in the UFC. Doesn't matter who wins and loses. I honestly can't pick a winner in this fight. I think they're both the same skill level. If anything, I'm going to pick Thiago Moises just because what he can do and the power that he has and the different areas. He's a very well-rounded fighter. I think he gets this done. What do you think, Dustin?
I think Thiago Moises is a more experienced guy when it comes to, from what I know, when it comes to fighting in this platform. I'm gonna go with Thiago Moises, but I'm not gonna lie. Thiago Moises is probably gonna win this.
Yeah, that's what I think too. All right, we're moving on to another questionable, but should be a great, fun watch. We got Josh Parisian versus Alan Boudreaux. Yeah, Boudreaux, the Black Samurai. Again, this is another, like, what? Why is this on the main event? What's going on? What's going on here? Why is this on the main card? But I can tell you why, because there are about to be fireworks just thrown around. We got 2 heavyweights going at it, and both of these guys like to throw hands, Dustin. I'm actually not going to pick Josh Parisian, even though I probably should. I'm going to pick Boudreaux because I don't know why. I just, he had that he got impressive knockouts, and I think even though he draw against Tom Aspinall, which is, that was his first UFC fight, and now Tom Aspinall is rising to the top of litter right now. Like, that's a hard first fight in the UFC. And Josh Parisian just doesn't impress me that much. So I think he gets this done. I think we're going to see an early knockout here.
Parisian's been talking shit. He's been talking mad shit. He's over here talking like he's actually the most talented guy at the weight other than Islam and all the other guys. So honestly, dude, hey bro, you've been talking that shit. Show up. I'm rooting for him. Show the fuck up. Because when you talk shit like that and you perform, man, your career's going to go far. You might have to have a conversation with Ngannou and show him how it works. Because, hey, bro, that mouth, I'm telling you, the mouth can get you fights. Ask Masvidal. Ask Nate Diaz. Ask all of them. The mouth gets you fights. If you're going to run your mouth, please win. Please win. Because it catapults your career. I don't give a shit what any fighter says. Keep talking shit. Keep doing it. Keep winning fights, and you're going to be a famous motherfucker one day. Straight up.
And yeah, you just got to keep winning, and he does not have that track record. So we'll see what happens. Um, then we got poor Neil Magny, Dustin, poor Neil Magny. It's just this guy just says yes. Hey, I respect the hell out of him. He
I
just
feel
says
bad
yes.
for him. I
He
feel
doesn't
bad
give.
for him.
He just doesn't give a fuck. He just says yes to any fight, and he never says no. And he's now fighting Shavkat Rachmanov, who we all know is one of the next guys up. Shavkat is an absolute monster. We watched him early on in that Kazmat card versus Burns absolutely destroy his opponent with a spinning hook kick. It was fucking crazy. And by the way, this guy is a top flight wrestler too. I love Neil Magny. I respect Neil Magny, but you're gonna get fucked up, Neil Magny. I just like I'm sorry, Dustin. I love him. I love Neil Magny. Anybody who doesn't say no, I love. They are a fighter's fighter. And Neil Magny is that. This guy Shavkat is terrifying. He's absolutely terrifying. Him and Kazma are going to be fighting for the belt at one point. That's my dream. This is just again. I'm going to call. I think second round we see either submission or a knockout. I don't think let's go past the second round. What do you think, Dustin?
I'm always excited for guys that are dangerous when they go up against guys who've been there. So that's why I'm actually excited for this fight to watch it. Because even the most flashiest of fighters, when they fight somebody that has been there, been with the elites, been with the tough fights, been in the Warriors, been doing their due diligence in the company, I always like seeing these fights because it actually tells me who you are. So I'm excited. I'm excited for seeing this fight. Excited because it's going to show.
Yeah, and just a little note. If Shavkat wins, he gets catapulted into the top 10 in the welterweight division.
I'm excited. Like I said,
this fight is a big deal. Neil Magny gets disrespected by the UFC all the time. No one talks about him. All he does is come out and show up. He might lose, but he comes out and he shows up, like you said, and he's been there and he's fought the best and he's beaten some of the best too. The guy's a legitimate scary fighter. That being said, this guy's Shavkat. If people watching this haven't watched any of his fights, go watch them. Go watch them. Go find them on ESPN Plus. Find them somewhere.
Alec, did you watch the last Ultimate Fighter that just went on?
I have not yet. I have not.
Bro, I'm gonna just give you a preview. The ultimate heavyweight spinning heel kick you've ever seen in your goddamn life.
I've heard, and I'm gonna watch it. All right, we got to move on. We got one more fight. We got our main event, which is super exciting. We got Arman. I can never say his name. Sarukian versus Gamrot. Dustin, there are just this fight. I hope they both just stand in a phone book and just throw like I think they will. These are two guys that they get down. That's what they do. They just get down and they fight in a phone book and they will throw and throw and throw. Both of these guys, Gamrot is 20-1, and Arman is 18-2. Both coming up real quick in the lightweight division. We could be looking at two of the next guys in this fight. I'm gonna go with Gamrot. I think he can get this done. I think he is a little bit more experienced. I think he's got a little bit more of the technique. I think he does pull this out. but this is going to be a fun fight no matter who wins. This is one of the rare times I get to go into a fight, Dustin, and not root for anyone and just watch. So I'm excited. Dustin, what do you think is going to happen? And what do you think is next for these guys, too?
I actually agree with you, dude. This is one of those fights that I just want to watch. I don't have any dogs in that fight, but I will agree with your sentiment over Gamrot. I think Gamrot. I think he's gonna get it, but oh man, I think it's gonna be such an exciting fight. I think it's gonna. I hope they make it exciting. I really do. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But I think Gamrot's going to take it. I mean, I don't see it going the other way.
Yeah, and these are two guys that could easily fight for the belt later on, like in the next 3 years too. So it's crazy that this is happening so early, which I don't really understand. But I'm whatever. I'm down for it. You know.
The lightweight division just frustrates the shit out of me because there's so much to see. Like, Islam needs to fight a legit guy, and the 155 division is just killing me. Like, when he fights Dariush, I'm going to be the most excited motherfucker. When it actually happens, the 155 division just blows my mind.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Dariush in a year and a half now.
It blows my mind.
And then you got guys like Fiziev, Arman, Garmont. You still have Dan Hooker in the lightweight rankings. Like, this division's insane. And then you got Stu Bronx just defying all odds, just beating everybody they put in front of him.
It's just so entertaining. The 155 division in the UFC history has always been the best. And the reason I think it's the best is because it's a mixture of the two. I think the lighter guys are okay with being stronger at 155, and I think the stronger guys are cool with being a little bit weaker at 155. So all that talent just comes together. Yeah. And they all just start scrapping. The 155 division is just undefeated, and they'll never go sour. I think it's always going to have fucking talent. It's just crazy, dude.
That's true. All right, well, that ends it. We're both very excited for this card. DC, I think we can both agree, Dustin, that Daniel Cormier can go fuck himself. And we have, going into July 2nd, guys, we have the card of cards. We have it. It's happening. Max Holloway versus Volkanovski. Izzy versus Jared Cannonier. Sean Strickland versus Alex Pereira, which will, I'll be sweating when we talk about that next week. We got Sugarshot OMalley, Misha Tate versus Lauren Murphy. This card is crazy. I can't wait to talk about it with everybody. And, not to mention, on the prelims, you got Brad Riddell versus Jalen Turner and Robbie Lawler and Eaton versus Barbanera. And you got Ian Gary on the prelims of this card. This card's fucking insane. Guys,
by the way, Ian Gary, if you pull that shit you did last time against that fight, you probably damn near should have lost. You're about to lose the fan because that was bullshit.
True.
So
that's true. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week when we get to talk about 276. Have a good night. Happy fight week, everybody.